Pain is a teacher, not a punishment. Too many people spend their entire lives running from pain, acting like it's the enemy, like it's some curse that life throws at them just to make them miserable. But what if I told you pain is not there to destroy you, it's there to instruct you? The moments that hurt the most are often the moments that hold the greatest lessons, if only you're willing to sit in the discomfort long enough to hear what it's trying to say. Pain has a language, but most people never learn to listen. They get angry, they shut down, they quit. They start blaming life, people, or even themselves. But the truth is, pain doesn't come to punish you. It comes to prepare you for the next version of yourself. When you go through something that breaks you, you have two choices. You can let it crush you, or you can let it teach you. Every struggle you face is like a class in the school of life. The tests are hard. The lessons are uncomfortable, but the growth that comes after is unmatched. Think about it. You didn't learn strength when everything was easy. You didn't learn patience when everything went your way. You learned it when life tested you, when you were forced to wait, when you had to push through uncertainty. That's the lesson pain brings. It molds you into something stronger, wiser, sharper. Pain doesn't ask for your permission, but it always leaves you with a choice to grow or to give up. A lot of people misunderstand pain because they only see the surface of it. They see failure as final, rejection as the end, heartbreak as unbearable. But pain has depth, and in that depth lies your transformation. When you fail, the pain of failure can teach you persistence. When someone walks out of your life, the pain of loss can teach you self-worth. When life knocks you down, the pain of struggle can teach you resilience. Every painful moment carries within it the seed of wisdom. But most people are too focused on the hurt to notice the lesson. They want relief, not revelation. But growth doesn't come from comfort, it comes from struggle. You have to start seeing pain as your personal mentor. Think about how you learned some of the biggest lessons in your life. It wasn't when everything was perfect, it was when you were at your lowest. Maybe you learned who your real friends were when you were struggling. Maybe you learned to value time when you lost opportunities. Maybe you learned to appreciate love when you experienced loneliness. Every painful experience carves something new into your character. That's not punishment, that's preparation. Life was preparing you for something greater, and pain was the tool it used. If you never went through pain, you would never grow the muscles of faith, perseverance, or humility. You'd stay the same person, stuck in the same mindset, afraid to stretch beyond what's easy. Pain forces you to evolve. It shows you where you've been weak. It pushes you to develop strength in areas you never knew existed. When you're lifting weights, your muscles tear slightly so they can rebuild stronger. The same thing happens emotionally and spiritually. Every wound, every disappointment, every hardship tears something in you. But when you heal, you don't just go back to who you were. You become stronger, wiser, more aware. Pain is the resistance that builds your inner muscle. There's something powerful about people who've been through pain and didn't let it destroy them. They have a light in their eyes that can't be faked. They have a calmness, a wisdom that comes only from surviving storms. When you talk to them, you can feel it. They know something about life that comfort can't teach. They've been in the fire and came out refined. That's what pain does when you embrace it instead of running from it. It polishes your soul, strips away your pride, your ego, your fear, and reveals your truth. Every great story has pain in it. Every champion has a chapter that broke them. Every success story has a moment when quitting looked easier. You can't skip that part. The pain you're going through is writing your strength, building your discipline, sharpening your vision. Sometimes the lesson isn't about winning. It's about learning to endure, learning to trust, learning to move forward even when you don't understand why it's happening. That's wisdom, knowing that pain is temporary, but growth is forever. When you stop seeing pain as punishment, you start to find power in it. You start to recognize that life is not happening to you, but for you. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? That shift changes everything. Suddenly, your heartbreak becomes a lesson in boundary. Your failures become lessons in strategy. Your losses become lessons in gratitude. Every wound starts to whisper wisdom, not in the noise of anger or frustration, but in the quiet space where you choose to reflect instead of react. Don't let pain define, let it refine you. There's a difference between being shaped by what hurts you and being controlled by it. Too many people allow their past pain to become their permanent identity. They wear their wounds like name tags to introducing themselves by their trauma instead of their triumph. But you were never meant to stay trapped inside the story of your suffering. The purpose of pain is not to label you, it's to liberate you. It's supposed to mold you into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable than before. Pain was never meant to be your prison. It was meant to be your polishing process. Life will hurt you. That's guaranteed. You're going to face betrayal, loss, failure, rejection, heartbreak. But those things don't define who you are. What defines you is what you decide to do afterward. You can take that pain and let it harden you, make you bitter, close off your heart, or you can let it refine you, make you more compassionate, more focused, more resilient. The fire that burns can also purify, but you got to decide how you walk through it. Diamonds don't shine because they avoided pressure. They shine because they endured it. Steel doesn't get strong by avoiding heat. It gets strong by surviving it. You're no different. When you look at your pain the right way, it becomes your greatest teacher and your greatest strength. But when you look at it through the eyes of defeat, it becomes your greatest enemy. Some people let their pain tell them you'll never be enough. Some people let their pain convince them that they're broken, that their dreams don't matter anymore. They build walls around themselves, thinking they're protecting their hearts, but what they're really doing is protecting their wounds. And as long as you protect your wounds instead of healing them, they'll control you. You'll move through life reacting to old pain instead of creating a new purpose. Refinement is a process. It's not quick and it's not painless. When something is refined, it goes through heat, pressure, and friction. That's how impurities are removed. The same happens with you. Pain strips away your illusions. It removes your pride, your complacency, your false sense of control. It forces you to face who you really are when everything comfortable is taken away. It teaches you to depend not on your emotions, but on your endurance. You start realizing that strength isn't about never falling. It's about learning how to rise after every fall with more wisdom, more focus, and more purpose. Think about the people who have inspired you the most. Most of them didn't have easy lives. They were shaped by struggle, refined by pain. Every disappointment made them more determined. Every loss deepened their character. They didn't let their pain define them. They let it design them. They stopped asking, why did this happen to me? And started asking, was this trying to teach me? That's where transformation begins. The moment you stop seeing pain as the end and start seeing it as the beginning, you become unstoppable. The truth is, pain has a way of revealing your potential. You don't know how strong you are until being strong is your only choice. You don't know how brave you can be until fear shows up. You don't know how much purpose you have until you face something that tries to destroy it. Pain brings out what comfort hides. It brings you close to the truth of who you are. And when you come out of it, you don't just survive. You shine differently. You shine differently. You walk differently. You walk differently. Because now, your strength isn't fake. It's not built on pretending everything's okay. It's built on knowing you've been through the fire and you're still standing. But that transformation doesn't happen automatically. You have to choose it. You have to decide that you won't be a prisoner of your past. You have to forgive even when it's hard. You have to let go of what broke you without losing the lesson. Some people spend their whole lives replaying their pain like a movie they can't turn on. They keep reliving the same heartbreak, the same betrayal, the same failure. And every time they do, they give power to what hurt them instead of reclaiming their story. Refinement means you stop replaying the pain and start rewriting the purpose. You take what happened and turn it into wisdom, into strength, into a message that can help somebody else heal. Every scar you carry is proof that you made it through something that was supposed to destroy you. That's not something to hide. That's something to honor. Because those scars are not signs of weakness. They're symbols of survival. They're reminders that pain tried to define you, but you didn't let it. You didn't stay broken. You rebuilt yourself. You learned, you grew, you evolved. And that's what refinement looks like. Coming out of pain, not bitter, but better. When you start living like that, pain loses its power over you. Shift your mindset from victim to victor. That's where real transformation begins. Life will not always be fair. People will hurt you. Plans will fail. Doors will close. And sometimes you'll be left wondering why things had to happen the way they did. But the truth is, staying in the mindset of a victim keeps you stuck in the same story, repeating the same pain over and over again. The moment you decide to stop asking, why me? And start asking, what now? Is the moment everything changes. You can't always control what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond to it. That choice, that mental shift, is what separates those who stay down from those who rise again. Victimhood feels safe at first because it gives you a reason to stop trying. It gives you a place to hide when things get hard. You start saying things like, it's not my fault, or there's nothing I can do. But while you're protecting your pain, you're also protecting your limits. You're giving your power away to the things that hurt you. When you live like a victim, you hand over control of your life to circumstances, people, and emotions. You start believing that life is something that happens to you instead of something you can shape. But a victor understands that pain is not the end, It's part of the process. Every challenge is a lesson. Every setback, a setup. Every loss, a doorway to something greater. The difference between victims and victors isn't what they go through. It's how they see what they go through. Two people can experience the same hardship, and one comes out broken while the other comes out bold. Why? Because one stayed in a mindset of defeat while the other decided to find strength in the struggle. A victim says, I can't believe this happened to me. A victor says, it just happened, but it won't stop me. A victim focuses on the problem. A victor focuses on the possibility. That mindset doesn't ignore pain, transforms it. It takes control back from the past and invests it into the future. When you decide to be a victor, you stop living in reaction mode. You stop letting emotions and memories dictate your direction. You start choosing growth over excuses. That's when your mindset becomes your weapon. See, life is not about avoiding pain. It's about learning how to rise every time you fall. A victor doesn't deny the difficulty. They just refuse to be defined by it. They understand that setbacks are not signals to stop, but to strengthen. When you start to see adversity as training instead of punishment, you'll begin to appreciate every lesson hidden inside the pain. The victim mentality tells you that life owes you something. The victim mentality reminds you that you owe it to yourself to fight for what you want. When you live like a victim, you keep waiting for someone to save you. But when you live like a victor, you realize the person you've been waiting for is you. No one's coming to fix your life for you. No one's going to hand you peace, success, or healing. You gotta work for it. You've got to take responsibility for your energy, your choices, your attitude. That's power. The moment you take ownership, you stop being powerless. Every time you fall in self-pity, you rob yourself of the energy to grow. You give power to your pain instead of your purpose. Life isn't about avoiding the storm. It's about learning how to dance in the rain. When you start shifting your focus from what you've lost to what you can build, from who hurt you to who you can become, that's when you rise. That's when you stop repeating the same story and start rewriting your own. God rewrote you. You go from being a survivor to being a conqueror. The world is full of people who gave up because something broke them. But it's also full of people who turned their pain into power, who used rejection as redirection, who took the same pain that could have destroyed them and used it as fuel to create something greater. That's the victor's mindset. It doesn't mean you won't cry. It doesn't mean you won't feel tired or discouraged. It means that even in those moments, you know you're still in control of your next step. You may have fallen, but you're not finished. You may have been wounded, but you're still moving forward. Sometimes the only thing standing between you and your breakthrough is the story you keep telling yourself. If your story always ends with, I was hurt, I was betrayed, I was unlucky, then you've already decided the ending before you've even tried to change it. Stop. But when you start saying, I was hurt, but I healed, I was betrayed, but I learned, I was unlucky, but I grew stronger, then your story becomes one of victory. The words you speak over your life shape your direction. Every time you choose empowerment over excuses, you take another step toward freedom. A victor doesn't wait for the world to be fair. They create opportunities even in unfair situations. They use pain as fuel instead of a barrier. Transform your scars into strength. Every scar tells a story. Every mark on your soul, every memory that once hurt, carries proof that you made it through something that could have destroyed you, but didn't. Too many people spend their lives hiding their scars, covering up their pain, pretending they've never been broken. But strength doesn't come from hiding your wounds. It comes from healing them. The same pain that once brought you to your knees can one day be the reason someone else finds the courage to stand. Your scars are not signs of weakness. They are symbols of survival. Reminders that even in your darkest moments, you didn't give up. When you go through pain, it leaves a mark, sometimes on your body, sometimes in your heart, sometimes in your mind. But those marks are not there to shame you. They're there to shape you. And every scar is a lesson written in the language of experience. You learn resilience when you had to keep going with tears in your eye. You learn patience when nothing happened on your timeline. You learn faith when you had no choice but to trust that somehow things will get better. The pain taught you things peace never could. It forced you to dig deeper, to grow stronger, to discover parts of yourself you didn't even know existed. Some people think that healing means forgetting the past, but healing doesn't mean erasing your story. It means reclaiming it. It means saying, yes, this happened to me, but it no longer controls me. It means looking at the same scar that once made you cry and feeling gratitude instead of grief. Because now you understand that what hurt you also helped you. The heartbreak built empathy. The rejection built focus. The failure built discipline. The loss built appreciation. You are not the same person who was hurt. You evolved. The scar isn't just a memory of pain. It's proof of progress. The world will try to make you believe that brokenness is something to be ashamed of. Society rewards perfection, filters out flaws, and hides the process of healing. But real strength is raw. It's imperfect. It's honest. When you show your scars, you're not saying, I'm still hurt. You're saying I've healed, but I haven't forgotten what it took to get here. That's authenticity, and authenticity is powerful. People connect to your scars more than your success. Because scars are relatable, they remind others that healing is possible, that no matter how deep the wound, it can close. Turning scars into strength begins with acceptance. You can't heal from what you refuse to face. You have to stop pretending you're fine when you're not. You have to stop numbing your emotions and start feeling them. Healing hurts because it forces you to revisit what broke you. But that's how the transformation happens. You can't build strength without struggle. You can't develop courage without fear. You can't understand peace until you've walked through chaos. Every scar you carry holds wisdom, but only if you're willing to look at it, learn from it, and grow beyond it. When you choose to transform your scars, you start seeing them differently. That breakup that shattered you, it taught you to love yourself first. That failure that embarrassed you, it showed you what not to do and how to do better next time. That betrayal that crushed your trust, it made you wiser about who deserved your loyalty. Nothing was wasted. Every wound had purpose. Every scar has strength hidden inside it. But what if you stop seeing it as a reminder of pain and start seeing it as evidence of growth? There's a quiet kind of strength that lives in people who've been broken and rebuilt. They don't brag about it. They don't need to prove anything. You can feel it in their presence. The calm confidence, the inner peace that comes from having faced storms and survived. These are people who no longer panic when life gets hard because they've already seen darkness and found their way back to light. That's what your scars can do for you. They can become your armor, not to make you cold or closed off, but to remind you that you can endure. You can get knocked down, you can bleed, but you can still rise. The truth is, every time you overcome something painful, you become a little less afraid of life. You start realizing that you've handled hard things before and you can handle them again. You stop fearing failure because you've already been through worse and survived. You stop craving perfection because you know real beauty comes from depth, not flawless. The scar becomes a source of power, a physical or emotional mark that whispers, I've been through pain, but I'm still standing. You can't inspire others by pretending to be untouched by struggle. You inspire them by showing that healing is possible. That scars don't make you broken. They make you human. When people see that you've been through pain and still found strength, it gives them hope. Growth doesn't come from comfort. The truth is, comfort feels good, but it rarely makes you better. You can't grow while staying safe, and you can't discover your strength while hiding from struggle. Most people want success without sacrifice, progress without pain, and growth without challenge. But that's not how life works. Every meaningful transformation comes from discomfort. It's the resistance that builds your resilience. It's the struggle that shapes your spirit. The moments that stretch you, test you, and make you question everything. Those are the moments that grow you. We all want easy. We want the shortcut, the guarantee, the smooth road. But the easy road never teaches you discipline. It never builds endurance. It never prepares you for the storms that will come. Growth happens in the grind, in the days when you feel like giving up but choose to keep going. It's in the long nights when nobody sees your effort. It's in the moments when you have to push yourself beyond what's comfortable. Because comfort is a trap, it keeps you the same. And the same will never take you to the next level. Think about nature. Trees grow stronger in the wind because resistance makes their roots dig deeper. Muscles only grow when they're torn under pressure. Seeds have to break open before they can grow into something beautiful. Everything that grows must go through discomfort first. You're no different. The pain you feel today might just be the strength you'll need tomorrow. Every obstacle you face is an invitation to grow, not to quit, not to complain, but to rise to a new level of power and understanding. People who avoid discomfort stay small. They stay stuck in the same cycle, repeating the same mistakes, dreaming about change, but never doing the hard work it takes to make it real. Growth demands that you get uncomfortable. You gotta challenge your fear, face your insecurity, and confront your excuses. You gotta be willing to let go of what's familiar, even when it feels scary. Because what's familiar is often what's holding you back. Comfort zones are beautiful, but nothing ever grows there. This comfort is the birthplace of greatness. Every success story has a season of struggle behind it. A time when the dream looked impossible, when everything hurt, when quitting seemed easier. But those who make it through are the ones who learn to find purpose in the pain. They didn't run from pressure. They used it to refine them. They didn't wait for conditions to be perfect. They grew in the middle of the storm. You can't build confidence by always being comfortable. You build it by doing what scares you, by facing what challenges you, by pushing yourself past the point of fear and into the place of faith. Growth isn't always glamorous. Sometimes it looks like crying alone while trying to figure things out. Sometimes it feels like failing over and over before you finally get it right. Sometimes it's silent, unseen, and slow. But that's the process. The struggle is not there to punish you. It's there to prepare you. The discomfort is not there to break you. It's there to build you. Every time you stretch yourself, you're expanding your capacity to endure, to lead, to love, to succeed. There's a powerful moment that happens when you stop running from the hard stuff and start embracing. When you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? That's when everything shifts. You begin to realize that pain has purpose, that struggle builds strength, and that growth requires sacrifice. You start to see that your discomfort isn't a sign you're failing. It's a sign you're evolving. Every time life challenges you, it's not trying to stop you. It's trying to stretch you. The people who grow the most are the ones who learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable. They understand that real growth requires risk. You can't step into your destiny if you're always clinging to your safety. You can't discover your potential if you're afraid to fail. The only way to unlock your next level is to face what scares you and do it anyway. Fear is not your enemy. Stagnation is. You've got to train yourself to see struggle as opportunity, not opposition. Because the moments that feel like breaking points are often the very moments when your breakthrough is being built. Comfort whispers lies. It tells you that where you are is good enough. It tells you to play it safe, to stop pushing, to protect what's familiar. But growth shouts truth. It says you're capable of more. It says you haven't seen your full strength yet. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you become more of who you were meant to be. You start walking in purpose instead of fear. You start living intentionally instead of habitually. You stop waiting for the perfect time and realize the perfect time is now.